Hey, good morning. This is Saturday, November 27th. Oh my gosh, after Thanksgiving, and the month is almost over, and then comes Christmas. So on this video today, we're going to continue with Texas real estate exam questions and answers. I'll explain the questions, explain the answers, and ask you to participate by posting the question number and then the answer. And should you get it wrong, I will review it so that you may understand the reason why you may have gotten it wrong. So we're just getting started here, state questions. And this is the book that I'm using right now, Texas Real Estate Sales Exam Guide, Learning Express. Reason being, it has 4 exams, exam 1, 2, 3, and 4. It has glossary known as vocabulary. It also has math review, a little refresher course, and test preparation. And this is what the glossary, you've got glossary from A to Z. Okay, so we left off on question 96 last week. And so we will start with question number 97 today. And so let me set it up on my phone so that I can see what you're seeing. And that way, November 20, let me set it up on my hold phone on here so that I can see what you're seeing. Let me cut off the volume on my phone. So how's everybody doing today? Good, I hope, after lots of eating. All right, so let's get started. Let me view it. It's also being streamed to YouTube AgentPrep and to our Facebook group, okay? And should you miss it today, all right, so you're able to watch it because it is recorded. And should you miss it today, all right, so okay, there we go. Okay. So let's start with question number 97. Hi, Neelam. Great. I can see your name. Awesome. And you're in the Facebook group. Hope you had an awesome Thanksgiving dinner. I had 2 with one family, my brother and his family, and my daughter and kids went on actual Thursday. And then yesterday, my grandson wants to become a chef. So he cooked his own turkey and had another awesome meal. All right. And stuff. Yes, me too. Okay, number 97. Salesperson Sidney failed to complete his mandatory continuing education, MCE, prior to the expiration date of his current license on the 5th of the month following. He brokered a deal worth $30,000 in commission to him after the brokerage company gets it shared. So it says his license, continuing education expired, right? So what happens then? So which of the following statements are true? A, even though Sidney sent his license fee to the state before the expiration date of the current license, he committed an illegal act because he had completed the required education. So remember, we can renew our license by sending the fee prior to the expiration date. So then what happens? B, fortunately, Sidney paid his license fee before the deadline and was issued a new license with a requirement to pay an additional $200 and complete the education within 60 days. C, Sidney committed an illegal act and is subject to a fine and denial of an ability to reapply for a new salesperson license. Boy, that's drastic. D, none of the statements are true. Okay, so one of the statements is true. What does TREC allow us to do if we don't complete our classes prior to our expiration date? We do have an option. So remember to write your answer number, write the number and the answer. Okay, Neelam says B. Oh, and by the way, this is Wild Lillie Handy coming to you with AgentPrep out of San Antonio, Texas. Yes. Oh, great, Neelam. Yes, the answer is 97B, which is what? Fortunately, Sidney paid his license fee before the deadline and was issued a new license with a requirement to pay an additional $200 and complete the education within 60 days. So TREC does allow us an additional 2 months, 60 days. So what we do is we pay the renewal fee, which is 200 and something, and do the classes that are required. Right now, it's 18 credit hours. We have to take legal update 1 and legal update 2. We have to take contracts, and the others are electives. And then when we send in the course certifications, we pay a penalty of $200. Okay, so 97B is the correct answer. Very good. And actually, I'm going to have to do that. I'll be studying today, see if I can complete my renewal before the deadline of the end of this month. If I don't, I'll be paying that renewal fee plus another $200. Bummer. All right, number 98. Which of the following actions could leave a broker open to charge of practicing law without a license? So if anybody came in a little after we started, these are Texas state questions. So which of the following actions could leave a broker open to a charge of practicing law without a license? Hey, we're realtors, right? We're not attorneys. We leave that to the attorneys, right? So they deal with the legal stuff. So A, advising a seller that property is overpriced and therefore unlikely to sell. B, advising a seller that, in the broker's opinion, title to the subject property is not valid. C, advising a purchaser to obtain a lawyer's opinion of title or a title insurance policy. Or D, adding factual statements and business details requested by the principals to standard form promulgated the Texas Real Estate Commission. Okay, and that we can do what in provisions, number 11, special provisions. So which one could cause us to be charged? Okay, so there are several of you on here. So I'll give you an opportunity to answer. Thank you, Neelam. Neelam says 98B. Anyone else? Come on, this is the time to do it. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. This is the best time to practice taking the answering questions. Okay, the answer is 98B. So you're absolutely correct, Neelam. You're on a roll. Okay, so 98B is what? Advising a seller that, in the broker's opinion, title of to the subject property is not valid. So we leave that to the title company or their attorney. And most title companies have their own attorney that reviews all the history of the property. And that's why they're called a title company, because they do the search on the property. All the events of that property, any debt, any judgments will show up on the title report, which is called a title commitment. And we will get that within the first 7 to 10 days of a property, unless we put a rush on it. And if there are any liens, so we don't get involved in doing that. We have the contract, right? We're involved with helping buyers look for homes and select the right one that meets their requirements. And we help sellers put their property on the market, market it, attract ready, willing, and able buyers, okay, to that. But we do not edit any part of the contract at all or advise them in a section like that the title is not correct. That's not our job, and we don't know that. Okay, so awesome, very good. All right, number 99. And this is on exam number 1. Okay, on this book, which is free online and in our group. Okay, tells you right there. So you can download the book and follow with me. All right, number 99, just in case the screen is not large enough for you. So parties can be compelled to take a dispute to mediation prior to being able to initiate litigation by doing what? A judge. Okay, by whom? Not doing what? B, the Texas Real Estate Commission, known as TREC. C, a broker. D, either party. So which one? Let's see, I'm going to zoom this a little bit more. Let's see if I do it to 150. Oh, I actually have. Okay, so Neelam says D. Anybody else? Let me do it even bigger. I was trying to increase it so that I can show one question at a time. So I guess I'll have to go higher than 220. Let's see if I do 250. All right, that'll be a little bit better, and we'll focus on that question. Okay, so Neelam says 99D. Parties can be compelled to take a dispute to mediation prior to being able to initiate litigation by whom? By a judge, by TREC, by a broker, or by either party. So who can allow them to be compelled to go to mediation prior to initiating a long litigation? The answer is actually A. It says under the 1987 Alternative Dispute Resolution Act, only a judge can compel parties to take a dispute to mediation. Others can encourage parties to submit voluntary to mediation prior to resorting a litigation, but only a judge can compel. So what happens is when two parties do not agree, or seller and realtor or buyer and realtor, then we work towards resolving it ourselves, right, amongst us. If for some reason we can't, then we have to take it to court and the judge will recommend mediation. And then a mediator will be appointed or hired, and they will help both parties come to a decision. They don't make the decision for either party. That happens in arbitration. In mediation, the middle person will ask both parties questions and try to help them come together to a mutual agreement. So 99A. Do you get that, Neelam? No, it's not TREC. Okay, it's already in our Texas real estate document, the promulgated agreements, and it's not either party, okay, nor the broker. Those are not decisions that we can make, and the parties can't just decide to do it on themselves. If that's the case, then that means they're discussing it amongst themselves before they dispute to take it into a mediation. Okay, so first, resolve within ourselves. Then secondly, request mediation. If that doesn't work, then arbitration. And at arbitration, the attorney or the judge will make the decision after listening to both sides, whether they like it or not. So 99B. Okay, I'm sorry, 99A. Okay, I already wrote the answer there. You're welcome, Neelam. All right, number 100. Let's see, can I enlarge a little bit more? Zoom to, what did I have it at? 250. Let's try 275. Right. A real estate salesperson decides to sell his property without using a broker. No, I didn't mean the word HELL, right? I mean to sell. A real estate salesperson decides to sell their own property without using a broker. In offering their property for sale, what must that salesperson do? So that would be us, right? What must we do when we are salespeople? A, he or she must disclose the name, address, and telephone number of the sponsoring broker. He is prohibited by law from selling his own property without using his broker. C, he must disclose to the buyer that he holds a real estate license. Or D, he is exempt from the need to disclose anything since he is acting solely as a private citizen. Really? We're licensed. So I'll help you with that. We must always disclose. Okay. So D is out of the question. So from A, B, and C, select the correct one. So what do we have to do? Hey, Neelam says C. That's awesome, Neelam, that you're participating. That's great. And that is correct. 100C. Okay. I'm not sure I showed 99. So 99 was A. Did I show 98? Oh, that's still 99. 98. So 98 was B, 99 was A, and 100 is C, just in case I didn't show them for those that are watching the recording afterwards. Very good. All right, number 101. Which of the following is a statutory authority given to the Texas Real Estate Commission, known as TREC? Know your acronyms, okay? In A, license and regulate developers of condominium communities. B, inspect and accredit providers of acceptable education programs to provide pre-licensure real estate education. C, regulate the work of appraisers who perform appraisals for loans that are federally stated. D, regulate the size, duration, frequency, and medium for ads promoting real property for sale, offered for sale. So under the state law, statutory authority, which one is given to TREC, Texas Real Estate Commission, who you will be licensed by? Okay, Neelam says 101B. Anyone else? Come on, this is the time to go ahead and answer your questions, because I'll help you out understand if for some reason your answer is incorrect. Okay, you are correct, Neelam. The answer is 101B. So the legislator empowers TREC, okay, to inspect and accredit education programs, right? There are tons and tons of schools that we can choose from to take their courses. And so when you looked up in the TREC education requirements, how to get your salesperson license, it'll provide, hundreds of real estate schools where we can take our courses and our continuing education, right? So very good, 101B. Okay, 102. For which of the following is there no promulgated form? Okay, so this is a form that wasn't created by the 13 committee group that writes all the contracts, right, from TREC, right? So the 13 party is 6 attorneys, 6 brokers, and 1 civilian. So which of the following is there no promulgated form? A, contract for deed. B, lease for 60 days of occupancy by seller after closing. C, sale of an unimproved residential building lot. Or D, addendum to establish terms and conditions of a seller financing arrangement. So which one does not exist per Trek? Okay, Neelam says A. Anybody else? Nobody else? Come on. No, Neelam. Stick with your first. Stick with your first choice. You're doing good. You're doing awesome. Stick with your first choice. Okay, there is no promulgated form for contract for deed. So, although not prohibited, Texas laws and courts do not favor or encourage the sale of property through the use of a contract for deed. So that's like for sale by owners selling it themselves to a buyer and not transferring the deed. Okay, so they're also called land contracts. Okay, a seller, a for sale by owner can do an owner financing two different ways. A contract for deed where they don't convey the title until it is paid, or like a traditional bank, they convey the deed and then they have a amortization schedule with the interest rate and a payment plan. Sometimes they don't have interest rates. What they do, they add the interest. If it's a 5-year term, the seller will add the interest to the loan amount and then they pay it. So you're going to hear sometimes buyers say, well, I didn't have any interest and my friend didn't have any interest. Well, you know what? Most investors, if they want to do it that way, if the buyer says, I don't want to pay interest, the owner will add the interest to the property, unless the owner really doesn't care about getting interest, okay, because it's only one property that they sell. So that's a long little explanation and different ways of understanding contract for deed or land contract or a for sale by owner providing the financing. But in contract for deed, the title is not conveyed until that loan is paid off. Then the seller will put the buyer's name on the deed. They will sign over the warranty deed to convey it to the buyer. So you were absolutely correct, Neelam, with your first answer, contract for deed. And this is what we do a lot of times in the exam. We doubt ourselves, and therefore we change our answer. And for the most part, whenever we change our answer, we're more than likely going to change it to a wrong answer, unless a future question helps you answer a prior question, then you can go back and change it. Okay, I've done that. All right, number 103. So you understand that, Neelam? Okay, you understand better what a contract for deed is? It's a for sale by owner, seller financing, that the title is not, the warranty deed is not conveyed. So it's still going to show in the recorded records as the seller has the name on the deed, not the buyer. Some people get taken advantage of and the seller never transfers it and they lose a lot of money. But sometimes we lose our properties anyway when we buy it through a bank, right? Foreclosure or bankruptcy. Okay, number 103. Sam and Sally are occupying an apartment on a month-to-month lease with rent due and payable on the 15th day of each month. Okay, on the 15th day of each month, and it is a month-to-month lease. How much notice must they give their landlord to terminate their tenancy at will? A, 30 days unless otherwise stipulated in the rental agreement. B, 1 month plus 15 days. C, 1 month plus 30 days. D, since it is a tenancy at will, no notice is required. So I'll give you time to post your question on the comments. You know what? I ordered something, a pre-power drink, a pre-energy drink, and Amazon delivered it to apartments across the street with my same address. So I went and knocked over there, and the guy says, well, by the time I got home, it wasn't here. So I'm like, oh, well. So now I'm having difficulty letting Amazon know, because I had already answered the questions, and I said, okay, they asked, did it not arrive, or are you going to ask, do you need an additional help, or are you going to ask your neighbors? So I clicked, I'll ask my neighbors, right? But I knew it was going to be across the street. So now it won't let me go back and say, no, I didn't get it. Okay. So the answer here, 103, is anybody else answering besides Neela? Yes, it is 103A. Very good. You're on a roll, Neela. I'll have to find out another way to contact Amazon. All right, number 104. So even though it's a tenancy at will, meaning that they don't have to have a reason to terminate, here it's giving them still 30 days notice stipulated in the rental agreement. So that's traditional. However, tenancy at will is kind of like having a job at will. They don't have to give you a notice. They can let you go boom like that and walk you out. And that could also happen on here if it was stipulated in the rental agreement. It would say tenancy at will means for no reason at all, you need to go when I say. But here they're being good and allowing 30 days notice by the tenant that they have to give their landlord, and it's typically in writing. Okay. Yes, it is, Neelam. Okay, so it will have tenancy at will. So that's for no reason at all. Okay, so it's not because of late payments, for violating the agreement. It means for any reason at all, the landlord wants the property back or the tenant wants to leave, and they just give them a 30 days notice, and the owner typically has to accept. But then they still go through the normal giving 30 days for the tenant to, for the landlord to review the apartment and determine if there are any repairs that need to be done, and then provide them with a balance provide them with their deposit back, or deposit minus any repairs that were done that were created by the tenant. I've never dealt one with tenant at will, and I was a property manager. Well, I have my own property, apartment complex and houses. However, I've never dealt with that. Okay, 104. You're very welcome. Which of the following is true when an applicant for licensure has failed to pass the competency examination within the prescribed 6-month period? So which of the following is true? Okay, one of the answers will be correct. When an applicant for licensure has failed to pass the competency examination within the prescribed 6-month period. Okay, so this question is outdated. I'm going to highlight it. And we are now allowed, okay, a year, right? I'm going to highlight it. So we're now allowed 12 months. This is an old book. And it used to be 6 months that you had to pass your exam and get it all paid for. and submit all the certificates. Well, now we have 12 months. So proceed. The answer should still be accurate. So A, the applicant must petition the Texas Real Estate Commission, known as TREC, for an extension. B, the applicant may exercise the 3-day grace period to retake the exam. C, the applicant may submit a new application with no additional fees. Or D, the applicant must submit a new application meeting all current requirements. How do I get rid of, I don't want the highlight on. All right, so I'll give you some time. Okay, so Neelam says D. Anyone else? And that is correct, Neelam. The applicant must submit a new application meeting all current requirements, which will include, a fee. So now if we don't complete our examination within the year that we paid for it, then we have to reapply, still meet the requirements, and pay the new fee, okay, for that year. And we have another 12 months to take our exam, but we only get to take it 3 times. In the past, we could take it as many times as we wanted to. No longer the case. Now it's 3 times and must retake one of the 6 courses before being approved to take it again. Okay, number 105. Which of the following actions does not constitute a violation of the Texas Real Estate License Act, known as Trella? Trella. That's an acronym, Trella. Okay. A, receiving a commission without the knowledge and consent of the licensee's client. So which one is not constitute a violation? Okay. Not. I was almost thinking which one does. B, paying $50 to an unlicensed person as an act of appreciation for referring a buyer to the salesperson. C, placing a for sale sign on the property after receiving the owner's written permission to do so. D, failing to disclose previous flooding that occurred on the property 15 years ago. Oh, I forgot to type the answer in. Okay. Okay, so we're on what? 105. So which one is acceptable? Which one is not a violation of Texas Real Estate License Act? And always give yourself time, important, to understand what the question does ask for, okay? Because we can misunderstand reading the question really fast and misunderstanding, or we forget the word, not, and then say does constitute, but it's not. That's why it's large letters, capital letters. I've done that several times, even during class. Embarrassing, but hey, it happens. So Neelam says C. And that is correct, Neelam. No one else is participating. So the answer is C. So we can place a sign on an owner's property as long as we have the owner's written permission to do so. It does not have to be listed. We don't have to have a listing agreement. You can go ask a for sale by owner or somebody else, or any other property owner that that is thinking of selling it, but they haven't put it on the market yet, or it's upcoming. As long as you have it in writing, then you can put the for sale sign so that you can cover your own rear end, right? Okay, we'll do a couple more questions and then we'll call it a day. All right, number 106. The Texas Real Estate License Act, known as Trella, Trela, requires the use of which of the following addenda to be used with all promulgated contract forms? A, environmental assessment. So let me go back with the question. Okay, so the question says, which Trella requires the use of which of the following addenda? So these are addendums that are part of the contract, not amendments that are changes after. They're during the contract. When we submit a contract to the buyer submits a contract to the seller. There's addendum that we can add to that, and they are part of the contract. Those are addendums. So which one? And then it says to be used with all promulgated contracts. Okay. So that's like an absolute that you're including that addendum to any kind of contract, to all contracts. Okay. Keep that in mind. So is there one that gets included to all of them? So A, is it the environmental assessment? B, seller's disclosure of property condition? C, neither A or B? Or D, both A and B? So the word all, must, always, never, a lot of times are trick words. National is scary. I like state questions. Yes, I do state questions twice before I do vocabulary and then national, because students have let me know that there aren't enough sites that do just Texas questions. So on next week, I'll be doing national questions or vocabulary. So number 106. So I'll give you a second chance, Neela. You can change your answer here. Because B is not correct. Yes, a lot of students think the national exam is scary because there are a lot of questions, right? 85 questions. All right, very good, Neela. There you go. That's when you can change the answer. See, you said seller's disclosure of property condition. Well, what if it's a piece of land? What if it's commercial? Okay. And what if it is a property that's being sold by an executor or by a trustee or by an administrator that the court assigns when there's a property with no will? Okay. Those individuals that are helping sell that property, they've never lived in the property. A piece of land doesn't have seller's disclosures of property condition are the condition of the house. So if there isn't a home on the piece of land, then we don't need the seller's disclosures property condition. Okay. If it's a commercial property, it won't be seller's disclosure. It'll be a commercial property condition form. Okay. It'll be just for commercial. If it is a property, a home, okay, that is being sold by the owners passed away. And so the person selling it for them has never lived in the home. They didn't inherit it. They're the executor. They're exempt, okay, from it. So there are certain individuals that are exempt from submitting a seller's disclosures, and banks are one of them, executors, administrators, a trustee, okay, a trustee of a mortgage or a trustee of a will. They are exempt from submitting the seller's disclosures. Why? Because they don't live in the property. They don't know the condition of the property, even though they may have visited and such, but they don't know it. They didn't live there. Okay, last question of the day, 107. In Texas, real estate brokerage fees or sales commissions are what? A, negotiated between the client and the broker. B, negotiated up to a maximum amount set by the Texas Real Estate Commission, TREC. C, determined by the local association of realtors. Or D, set by federal law to bring standardization to the real estate transactions funded by loans to be sold to the secondary money market. So I won't say, so we don't have a monopoly, right? So Neelam, did you type in an answer? How come it's not showing up on here? You typed it in Facebook. Okay, Neelam says A. Yes, I'm great. I'm glad you changed it, Neelam, because it's not C. Anyone else? No? Okay, 107 is A. Commission is, yeah, lots of laugh. That's when you can change the answer, when you reread the question and realize, oh my gosh, I selected the wrong one. Real estate fees, commissions are always negotiated between the broker and the client. Okay. When we believe in what we provide and we are worth what we charge, we should stay firm, right? All types of businesses have a fee that they charge, right? And they're not negotiable. Well, people know that real estate is all negotiable. However, we have to stay firm. If somebody is always asking us for a discount, or we're going to become a discount realtor, right? We don't want to be that. Yes, sometimes we get paid more on a transaction and it was really easy. And people say, you know, we didn't do the work for it. However, we've got to be consistent with our commission and expectations, okay, from our clients. So my commission fee is 6%. And if I can get 10%, okay, I can charge it, like on land, because we don't, land a lot of times is a lot less expensive than homes. So it is negotiated between the client and the broker. It is not set by TREC. It is not determined by our association of realtors. And it's not set by federal law, because then that brings a monopoly. Okay. And we are to leave it open to negotiation. If you're ever around any discussion of realtors trying to say, hey, well, let's all of us set our fee at 4% so that we get more listings, walk away from anything like that. That is not acceptable. That is illegal. Okay. We cannot be doing that. If we get caught, you'll be, your license will be taken away, okay? And potentially pay a fee or anything else that TREC determines. Okay, but they still have to listen to both sides. Okay, so that's the last question for today. Next week, we'll continue with another topic, either vocabulary or national questions. And if anybody wants math review, I can also do that. You can text me in advance and say, hey, Lillie, could we do some math review? If not, I'm going to start varying a little bit my classes. So whenever you go to YouTube, hey, send me some love, some support, and subscribe to my channel, which is YouTube AgentPrep. Like the video and click that little bell, okay, so that you get notified anytime that I upload or I go live. I'm doing videos. Lately, I've been going live once or twice a week, typically Wednesday evening at 6 and Saturday. Wednesday evening, I did cancel the class. I should have realized that it was going to be Thanksgiving Eve, and I did not do it. Okay, so there was no class on Wednesday. So we will have class next Wednesday, and I send out a little reminder and anybody new will get an email. Okay, so this is the book that we were using today. Hope you had an awesome day. Continue to review, study every day for hours, if necessary, in order to pass your exam, and trust your answers. If for some reason you fail the exams, okay, you can go at the end of the questions and review the section that you failed. Hold on, let me minimize my screen so that I can show you. Zoom, fit to page. All right, so at the end of every chapter, every exam, there's this chart. Okay, so let's say you took the exam and you said, oh man, my weakness was property ownership. You can go to the end of the exam for the review questions and determine, okay, I can study these questions in particular right here to learn to understand it. And then you can also go to your prep book. If you do have a prep book or other videos, there's a lot of free material online. Okay, so save your money and don't pay a lot of money for a lot of different courses. They don't always help. What helps is how you study and the amount of time that you invest in studying. The people that pass these exams, they study for hours, days on, okay, in order to be prepared for an exam. Some people have photographic memories and they remember everything, okay? The average person does not. So whatever section you're weak on, you can go here at the end of each chapter, each exam, and say, hey, I need more about transfer properties, or I need more information or questions about contracts, and review these questions. Okay. There's also a Scantron that you can print. I think that's at the beginning of each. So it's a Scantron just like you take on the exams. Well, the exams are computerized, excuse me. And you can print it out and then set time to take the exam without being interrupted so that you get a better idea of how much time it took you to go through the whole questions. You're very welcome, Neelam. And so also remember that I'm with eXp Realty. And so I am also looking for students that pass. When you're choosing a broker or sponsor, I am looking for students to join me, or now what inactive realtors, right? That's what you become, inactive realtors, to join me at eXp. When you want to learn more about it, let me know, and I will share videos and information with you, or put you on a three-way call with one of my sponsors that's been with the company so that you hear it from somebody else and not just from me. Okay, so with that said, remember the classes are recorded. They're either on my YouTube channel, Agent Prep, please subscribe, click the little bell, or they're here in our Facebook group and on the Facebook page. So, hey, continue enjoying your weekend. If you have it off with family, children, have fun, rest, whatever you need to do, and continue studying. So until next time, catch you later. This is Wild Lillie Hendy with Agent Prep coming to you from San Antonio, Texas.